something that must have caught your attention when you're in May of 2019, you're back to work a little bit more. A young man, maybe a little bit older now, but a young man that you saw at the very beginning of FCW that you said, okay, this guy, you said earlier that if someone can promo, you're halfway there. And you saw a guy named Jon Moxley back in FCW, and you said right away, this guy's good. And he made you look good because you believed in him. And again, that's a story you've told on other podcasts, but to see Jon Moxley choose to let his contract run out, not that you get involved in that, but then to make that epic debut at Double or Nothing where he comes through the crowd and he's now with AEW. I was there in person. It was electric. When did you see it? What were your thoughts about, well, you know, you don't get caught up in the war, but now you've got guys choosing, top guys choosing AEW over WWE, and guys that you've invested some years in.
Good for him. That's what I thought. Good for him. Right.
Right.
The last few times I'd seen him, in fact, I did see him that year. I'd seen him at WrestleMania. It was a strange thing with me and John. And what I liked about John a lot was that he kept a mystique to himself for many years. And it's only the last couple of years that he started talking about himself. But he kept a mystique about himself. Well, he kept that mystique up so much that whenever, because of a thing that we did in FCW years ago, we never talked in front of anybody.
Wow.
Right? And we very rarely got to see each other except for in front of people.
So for those that don't
just
know,
occasionally, yes.
This was a feud between the two of you. And so what you're saying
it lasted for a year. We did a year's program.
You kept it old school. Program. You did not talk. You did not consort.
It wasn't that we purposely set out to do that. It just became a thing that I would say things. But when I would say how good he was to people, or what I thought about him occasionally, very occasionally, but whenever we were in public, we sort of, and maybe I was reading it wrong. I always thought that he wanted to keep a mystique about himself because he did mention that to me years ago when we were in FCW, that nobody has any mystique anymore. So I just played along with it, but we never really got to see each other that much because once he got onto the main roster, I was in NXT and I didn't go there that much. So when we did pass each other, it was occasional acknowledgement, but that was it. And that may sound like we were trying to do something, but no, that was the way it became. So I don't think I've ever had two, probably in FCW, I've had any kind of meaningful conversation with Jon Moxley, apart from having a laugh. We used to occasionally travel together when he was on the main roster, me, him, and Cesaro, and it was usually after me. They'd want to ask me about stuff and I'd end up telling them stories. And so it was me telling stories and the odd joke and stuff. So as far as meaning in public, it was very just passing ships in the night kind of thing. But I had seen him in 2019 when I went back for that, my first weekend properly back was WrestleMania, and we went to Bloodsports together. And I was shocked when he got in there. I went downstairs to go there with Canyon Seaman because I wanted to watch the show. And John came walking down and Canyon started to, because I was keeping that up as well. I wasn't talking to him in front of Canyon. And he started talking to Canyon and he started talking to me. And I was like, all right. And we did say a couple of things and he shut up when there was other people around. So again, it's a weird thing, isn't it? But we went there and he said, oh, can I get a ride with you? And so I went, yeah, get in. We went and we actually stood together. And while we were stood together, I was thinking, oh, he's changed. Because I don't know, this whole 10 years or something, we've sort of avoided being around each other for something that happened that very few people ever saw. But it meant a lot to both of us because it was a year-long thing that was, if you actually watched it all put together, was a very well-told story. I was not in the best of health at the time with different, I had things building up, but I also had extra injuries and whatever. So I don't look very good at certain points in my career. In fact, all my career. But at that time, I wasn't wrestling that much anymore.
Right.
And I was still training as much as possible, but I couldn't do any upper body work at all because I had all kinds of different things. My neck was withering away. I tore my pec, my other bicep, which the other one was already torn.